In this video I will explain and demonstrate how you can create a declaration of conformity. Let's say I intend to sell this Bluetooth speaker in the EU. First thing we need to do is to classify the product, and the reason is that there are more than one type of declaration of conformity. So first we need to determine which regulations and directives apply, and then we can determine what is the specific format that we need to use for our DOC. So I'm selling a portable Bluetooth speaker. That's an electronic product with a battery inside. We've got two modules. Beyond this, we need to set the input voltage. Let's imagine that it comes with a charger within this span. It's a Bluetooth speaker, so it's radio enabled. Why is this important? Because it triggers additional regulations and directives, which in turn have provisions which have let's say, their own version of a declaration of conformity. Now we have a requirements list and we can start working on the DOCs. Let's begin with the low voltage directive. As you can see here, the low voltage directive requires you create a declaration of conformity. And luckily we have a template for that. And even better, we already have one that's pre-filled in, just to save us some time. So let's say that I'm working on creating a declaration of conformity according to the low voltage directive. Well, I'm using our template in this case to save time, but you can find this information under Annex 4 in the low voltage directive. So this template is based on the exact provisions that you will find in Annex 4 of the low voltage directive. Okay? Now, how do you fill out a declaration of conformity? Well, if it's for the LVD, you have to start with the product model, product type, batch, or serial number. Okay? So let's say that I determine that the batch number is 2025. We'll say ABC for the batch. And let's say I placed the order in May 2025. And we call this ABC. Okay? Just to give you an idea, these are just placeholders. This is to identify the product. That's the first thing. Then you need to identify the manufacturer, a company name and an address. You need to state that this declaration of conformity is issued under the sole responsibility of the manufacturer. That's more of a statement. Point 4, this is very similar to point 1, but you need to provide the identification of the electrical equipment. And as part of this, you can upload an image. You type in the product name again, model number, batch number, same as I specified above. And as you see here, they also make it clear that this could include a color image. So this is important because this way the market surveillance authorities, or maybe a distributor, they can look at your declaration of conformity and quickly determine that, okay, this is the declaration of conformity for this Bluetooth speaker. It's for the Bluetooth speaker X2 2025 edition, PSX 2 2025. Just something I made up just to demonstrate. Okay. Point 5, you need to list the various regulations and directives that the product is designed to comply with. And it's based on the LVD. Like this template is the LVD DOC. So that's the basis. So it obviously need to comply with that one. But as I mentioned, there can be more than one regulation or directive that in turn requires CE marking and a declaration of conformity. In this requirements list, we have quite a few. We have the EMC directive, ROHS, and LVD, of course. We've got the radio equipment directive and the batteries regulation. All of these have their own version of a declaration of conformity, and they do require a declaration of conformity. Many brands, they combined the information. They find a way to, let's say, standardize, so they catch everything from the different versions of the DOC. I think that would be a little bit too complex for this video, but I will still state the principle that point 5 could potentially include more than just the LVD. You could expand with other regulations and directives. Point 6 goes into even more detail. This is where you need to include harmonized standards. And in this case, I have specified harmonized standards under the low voltage directive. These are just two examples. You can provide more detail by doing it like this, for example. And what I'm showing now is that these are the standards that are harmonized under the low voltage directive. Then I would need to expand with the other directives and regulations, EN XXX, EN XXX, and so on. Well, obviously you would write the actual standards here. I think the point is demonstrated. Now, keep in mind that a declaration of conformity can only be issued on the basis that the product is compliant with harmonized standards, and that in turn requires test reports to support the document. DOC in isolation, a DOC alone, has no value really. Okay, now let's say that we have filled out the complete list of harmonized standards and that this is in turn based by one or more test reports for my product. Then we can go on and we can type in the name, the person issuing or signing the DOC, the place and date of issue, and the name, position / function, and the signature. Okay? So what should I actually do with this? Well, you download a version, and well, it's basically it's a PDF file, and you print it. And then you sign it, and then you store it for 10 years. And that's from, I believe, the point after you have actually stopped selling a product. So these need to be archived for a fairly long time. So this is what a declaration of conformity might actually look like. And I apologize, there's some inconsistency between point 1 and point 4. Obviously, batch number and SKU and so on should be the same. You should not have different batch numbers. Okay, so still have to get this signed. What should you do with this? Well, if you sell on Amazon, you will likely be requested at some point to provide a declaration of conformity if one is required for your product. You can also be requested by a market surveillance authority in any EU member state to provide a declaration of conformity, and they also tend to request the declaration of conformity with supporting documentation as primarily test reports. Okay, that's everything I had to say on this topic.